Salute, salute. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome. Happy Monday to everybody. My day has been a little busy and hectic, but I'm glad to be here. Glad to be in good health. Glad to be amongst the land of the living. Hoping that you are feeling the same. Man, that live yesterday and today with KB, I thought was really profound enough for me to do a reaction video on it. And boy, I tell you, there's always a reminder of where our place is, right? If you know, you know. So when you come on in, go ahead and tap that like button. If you are catching the replay, do the same. The same rules apply, right? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming in and getting some edification on the topic for today, right? So, just to kind of get right off into it, I know other people are scheduled to go live today around this time. These YouTube streets are super busy and super active, right? So, this situation with Killer Mike actually with in correlation to Bill Maher, he's been actually, I don't know if they're friends, I don't know if they're, comrades, but Killer Mike has been a frequent guest on Bill Maher's show over the years. And there's a lot of history there, right? So trying to just give some preface and some context to their relationship. I've been watching some videos of some past interviews that Killer Mike has had with Bill Maher, and you can definitely tell that they have some history. So, greetings to you, C Child. Hey, I see you. T Smith is in the house and her G Energy. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for stopping in. Salute, peace, and blessings to everybody. So, I'm starting this live off trying to establish some prior relationship between Killer Mike and Bill Maher. And I have a video that I want to kind of start off with so I can provide some context to why I felt that Bill Maher was comfortable enough to push up on Killer Mike with questions that I felt could provide an inflammatory answer. And so it kind of irritated me, as you will see with this first video. And just to give a pause here, all of the video references that I am going to use during this live stream are always in the description box. If you would like to go and view the entire thing, or, kind of chop in and clip where you feel is necessary for your edification. But so the links are in the description box. But on this first video, this was I don't know, it was posted 3 days ago, but I assume it might have been, it looked like it was a different, interview. It was a different panel, it had other people on the panel, and I found Bill Maher to be a little condescending. And it just kinda goes along with the video response and the reaction that Kwame did when he pushed up on Killer Mike because he wasn't, he wasn't satisfied with the way that Killer Mike answered him. So, again, we're just gonna show this first video in order to provide context of exactly the nature and the temperature of their relationship prior to what happened 3 days ago.
He's an entrepreneur and musician. His self-titled solo, Michael, was
Fair
recently
use,
released.
fair
Up
use.
for 3 Grammys Sunday. Killer Mike is with us, Mike Render. And he's the Republican governor of New Hampshire, Governor Chris Sununu, and she's the host of The Five on Fox News, Jessica Tarlov. That's our panel that we just had. So would you like to comment on my editorial that I just did about how there's a lot of materialism in music these days, and maybe it's not great for the kids?
I think there's materialism in American society, period. We're just musicians and artists a lot of times, in terms of when art becomes commerce, it's just a reflection of where society is. When you were talking about, it used to be a lot of bitches and hoes and homophobia in there. Bitches, hoes, and homosexuals buy music. And at a certain point, the people who make music was like, it's not cool to keep saying this shit because they got better buying power than just the guys who are mad at home. And what you see now is the people on top of the charts are the Kendrick Lamars, the Drakes, the J. Coles, because society, Huey said, it's not the vanguard that moves the people, it's not the leadership, it's when the people are ready to move. So I think when I have arguments with Anaya, my 26-year-old daughter, I know that there's a change coming because of the way she views the world. So
Okay, so that's a good place to kind of give some context to what he's saying. So he's basically starting out by saying, that the nature of rap music is and the way it's being received, there's a shift compared to what he's accustomed to, right? So, welcome, Lions Den. Thank you for coming in. Greetings, Jota. Yay. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. Always a pleasure to see y'all. Thank you. And so, we're talking about this particular video. I'm not really sure, again, when it was conducted, but it was posted 3 days ago. And I know it's recent, but I just am not sure if it's the same exact video of the one where he made the comments and Bill Maher asked the question about, if he preferred Trump over Biden or vice versa. It looks like the attire is the same, so it may just be after, a different clip of the same video or the same day of the panel, if you will. So, but I was kind of, when I went to view this, I was kind of taken aback with the open, and you will see yourself, but with the open, how candid they were with their viewpoints and their thoughts, because he brings up reparations. And I mean, you will see the temperature and the body language and the responses of this New Hampshire governor, as well as Bill Maher in particular, when he brings up the subject of reparations. So he was saying about his 26-year-old daughter, because of her viewpoints, that he sees with this generation, his daughter's generation, that things are starting to change, outlooks, and that so things can't stay the same, that they have to at some point they have to shift, and they have to change in the nature of the music industry and how the lyrics and the music are being received by the public and the masses. And so, we have to take an opportunity to go along with that shift and to embrace it, and make it work for us, even if it means to go back to a time where we insert political viewpoints and insert lyrics and texture into the music that actually positively affects the people as opposed to negatively affecting the people. So let's continue.
I think musicians and artists for commerce are going to adjust. But when it comes to money, we have an infatuation with money in this country. You know, so much to the point we went and kidnapped a bunch of people 400 years ago, made them work for free, and said, boom, greatest nation in the world. So, you know,
Right.
happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month.
It's like a relationship fight. You never let it go.
No.
Okay, so sarcasm right off the bat. And I know that's the nature of how he, you know, runs his interviews and his panels, but I just found that to be a dig, talking about we never let it go. Yes, because recompense has never been made. Full making the people whole and providing any type of reparations, whether it's cash, whether it's, how about just take the redlining away from and the restrictions away from giving equality to people of color to have the opportunity to have home ownership like everybody else, including the immigrants that come over from other countries, right? That walk right into assistance. They walk into opportunity. They walk into being able to set up their own businesses and be accepted and embraced. But they usually do it in the Black neighborhoods because Black people just don't get the respect, they don't get the recognition, and they don't get treated the way that they should be treated, seeing as though that Black people built this country, period, point blank. And so I found it to be disingenuous to a degree on Bill Maher's part to just really start off the interview, even though Killer Mike was just frankly saying in as nice of a way that he can, you know what, Black people has built this country. And so he's trying to set the tone for the conversation that he wants to have in regards to using the platform to talk about his people and looking at the opportunities, taking the opportunity to look at how it can be the conditions can be improved upon Black people, even though it's the same song and dance that has been heard 1,000 times over. It just seems like it just keeps falling over deaf ears as far as I'm concerned. Right? Your thought says, right? Why do we always have to turn the other cheek? Come on now. You already preaching, sis. That's what I'm talking about. So let's continue.
I'll tell you this. Speaking of money, you want to let it go. Prepare a reparations package for Black people in this country. For people, and I'll tell you this. The leader of the Fed said
Didn't I buy dinner last time?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, in the restaurant.
Okay. He's starting to kind of piss me off a little bit, y'all. So bear with me if you detect it in my voice or in my dialect. Dinner does not equate to reparations, sir. Okay. You got a long way to go before anybody feels like they're made whole based off of the fact that Black people have built this country so you can enjoy and you can capitalize off of the backs, the blood, the sweat, and tears of people of color, and then sit them on your platform and demean them and undercut them with this rhetoric and with these underhanded comments to state basically that that's all you deserve. Okay, so let's continue.
That does not count.
You did. You offered to marry my wife if I died early.
Absolutely.
So. But I do think this country could benefit from a reparations package that included cash, that included reversal of redlining by helping Black people be homeowners, understand credit, and understand Americans that if the Black community has more money, this country has more money.
Bottom line. And if you want to look at it from the vantage point of just the economics, that makes sense. But they don't care nothing about that, because I think at the end of the day, it's all about keeping people of color down, keeping them substandard, keeping them at the bottom of the totem pole. And in my opinion, it justifies why all of these borders are so open and so readily willing to accept undocumented people coming from other countries, bringing God knows who, what, or why into this country. And so it's the constant disrespect for me. It's the constant belittling and saying, well, you, at the end of the day, thank you for building this country, but you've done your due diligence. And so now just, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Make it work for you. And so do it like we did it. But no, we can't do it like you did it, because the fact of the matter is that you didn't build this country. You're just benefiting off of the ones that did, in my opinion. Right? So, hey, True Essence, greetings to you, sis. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. The bad guys, salute to you. Peace and blessings to everybody. So, for the newer people that are coming in the middle of the stream or at the beginning of the stream, we're just pretty much putting in context. I think this is the same interview where Kwame was emphasizing where he thinks, he kind of got into some trouble with the do dirties, and that's what I call them. Basically, during the Bill Maher interview, but I think this is the first clip or prefacing the one-on-one interview that he had with him. Because I'm gonna tell you, I tried to find the entire interview on the internet and I am unable to. It is chopped up, it is diverse, and I think that there are some portions that are clipped out, and I had to actually do some digging in order to find that audio clip, the original one that Kwame was that he played, and it's pretty much audio. There is no video because they don't want that information to be recirculated through the community, right? Because it will wake some people up. So let's continue. I'm talking about the sarcasm and the underhanded and the backhanded compliments and the underhanded tones that Bill Maher, he's so quick on the tongue that every time Killer Mike says something, he's got a rebuttal or he's got an insult to follow it in order to remind him you need to stay in your place. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and we need to start seeing ourselves in a relationship.
As long as we have the topic on the table, what do you think about that?
Vivek Ramaswamy just texted me his Taylor Swift playlist. I haven't been paying attention, so I'll pass.
Wait, you're dodging this question?
I'll dodge out. In terms of what, reparations?
Sending out a check.
Someone's got to pay. No, I'm not for reparations.
Someone's got to pay. You got the money. Y'all got the money. Y'all got all the money. What do you mean somebody's got to pay? You mean somebody has to continue to pay, right? So this guy irritated me as well. So now they got Killer Mike sitting on a panel with two entitled men that are very vocal about maintaining their positions and edifying their race and culture at the behest of the labor and the sacrifices and everything that goes with people of color building this country. So I just think he's super condescending. Even though I will say he's saying it like he feels it. He's not biting his tongue. I just, they're showing you who they are, and you have to respect that at the very least.
I'm not for that at all. At the end of the day, this country owes $34 trillion, and the government doesn't owe that money.
And how did the country get into that $34 trillion deficit? So whether the country owes 34, we didn't spend that money. We don't have any say so where that money comes from or goes, how it's allocated. So how is that our problem? And when you get all of these other groups that come over here from other countries, they walk into bills, they walk into legislation that accommodates their people. They get grants left and right. They get homes. They get treated differently than the people that actually built this country from the ground up. And so you're talking about a $34 trillion deficit. That ain't got nothing to do with us, because when it comes to sending Ukraine all that money, you sure don't have any issues with finding money in order to do that, right? So, okay, I digress. Let me continue. Child, please.
You all owe that money.
And also,
don't be fooled. The money's got to come from somewhere.
So he's okay. I'm sorry, but I can't I'm sorry. I know I keep stopping it, but this is okay. So he's saying we all owe that money. So if we all owe that money, shouldn't we have some say as to where and how that money is distributed? How come if we all owe that money, can't we make a decision and have input on us getting a package of reparations just to be able to be treated fairly? How about that? How about we start there? Okay. just to be treated fairly and have some of the same economic opportunities as people that have not invested anything into this country, but they come across the border and they get fast tracked. And then when they have children over here, those children become citizens. And now you done gave a green pass for your whole damn family to stay here and to benefit off of the land that you had no part in building. Okay.
collective guilt and individual.
Why don't you feel guilty? No,
I don't.
Yeah, and
because I didn't do it.
I think more black
Collective.
conservatives, but you benefited from it. You benefited from
Thank
it, and you
you.
still benefit from it.
Yes, that's true too.
So
That's
my
true.
thing is just help spread the benefit.
But okay, but you know there are reparations that do go on in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't say absolutely just give me a few $1 million and I'm fine. No, I think that trade and higher level education, I do think a cash payout. I think that there should be a mortgage forgiveness. I think that we should have an incentive to incentivize black wealth in this country. Robert Smith, black billionaire, had an interesting conversation where he wanted to tax corporations 2% of wealth. Imagine what 2% of multi-billion-dollar companies does for black society. What it does is it creates a place where it's not perfect, but Atlanta black people have opportunity. And if you talk to Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia, we also have a Republican governor who I have a relationship with. For the last 10 years, we've been #1 in business. We've created over 60,000 jobs and have more jobs coming. I would challenge you to help put together a reparations package that made the rest of America look more like the opportunity.
Well, he's from New Hampshire.
Ooh, they call him Killer Mike for a reason, right? So what he's saying, he just broke it down. And in my opinion, all he did was state things that level the playing ground, that make it even across the board. Why should we have to fight for that? I don't understand, y'all. I just don't understand. Why should we have to fight for that? These people benefit off of something that they had no part in building, that they had no participation in, but they're reaping the benefits. And then they're smug enough to say, guess what? Yeah, well, make it happen. Do it on your own. You're not getting any help from us. The taxpayers, they're going to be the ones to pay. Like that's a diss. Well, how in the hell do you think you got to be where you are? Right? Yes, your thoughts, Killer Mike, is that part. I ain't going to say it, but fair use, YouTube, fair use. So let's continue. Oh, before I do that, he made a statement on showing how Brian Kemp, being the governor of Georgia, how establishing a system that is working for them has created jobs and opportunities, and it's working for the state, opening businesses. And so he's saying if we just did that across the board, across the country, then that would be self-sufficient, or that would be sufficient, right? So watch with this man, how he responds. All you have to do is look at his face, right? Fair use. Absolutely. True essence. Thank you. So just look at the expression. And like I said, you got to give him, the respect that at least he ain't trying to hide it. He's just throwing it out there and letting it be known how he feels.
Sure, that's not going to happen.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Bill Maher says that's not going to happen. So he just, let me rewind that. And I'm not going to interrupt. I just want to replay. I'm big on body language and behavior. So just look at the responses of the body language and how confident and how abrasive they are with their responses and their reactions. It's amazing to me.
Of America look more like the opportunity.
Well, he's from New Hampshire. That's not going to happen.
But if I may, Lord knows I didn't want to get into a reparations discussion.
It would cost you hundreds of dollars up there.
And then you got again, what about the Native Americans who are, you got to go down the list. And when we're done with the reparations package this year, what about
you don't hear black people arguing against reparations for anyone. We've never argued against reservations. We've never argued against any payouts for people America's wrong. We're simply saying while we're at the table, let's do something to aid the people that until 60 years ago lived in apartheid.
Okay, but like
60 years is not very long.
It's not long at all. That is a couple generations, right? We think we're so far removed from slavery times, but this world, it reminds us every single day just how present it still is. It's just morphed to look like something else. But the term slavery and the concept and the definitions are still here, right? Yes, Jaga. Hey, welcome, Jaga. Thank you for coming in. She says, I wish they would let him speak without them interrupting. They can't because he's eating their asses alive, okay? With things that make total common sense and that sound rational. And you can't dispute that because he's not asking them for anything personally. He's just asking to even the playing ground and to make things fair across the board. And they're showing you that the way this country has always operated, that that's still asking too much. And it's shameful, in my opinion.
With Native Americans, we gave them the casino industry.
Yeah.
What about, you know, Super Bowl?
Could black people have the marijuana industry?
Well, I'm something like
Could
that.
we get look at his fucking face? Would you give us like that's
Look, how do they think marijuana became what it is today? They didn't legalize marijuana until they were able to monopolize it. Look how many people are still doing hard time for just possession. But then you got these white run dispensaries, or from other, they're not black run. Let's just put it that way. Fair use, you two, allegedly. You have these dispensaries, they've learned how to monopolize, and now they have altered the composition of the marijuana, and it's not natural anymore, right? And so they did not legalize it until they were able to control it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So I don't know why he's looking like this. So I don't understand what is so different in theory from a pharmaceutical company as opposed to a dispensary that's black owned. Let's just add that caveat to it, right? His response is just, they're killing me. They're killing me.
give us marijuana, multi-billion-dollar industry. It's still fresh. It's still growing. Why doesn't Killer Mike have a marijuana license in Georgia?
I'm out of the business.
Will you call Brian Kemp for me?
I'll call Brian right now. I don't know how the discussion's gonna go. Brian's a great friend, but
I mean, if you're going to buy marijuana, I would suggest you do it at the Woods, which is the great pot shop here in LA, which I'm a part owner of with Woody Harrelson.
Call that a slap in the face. Okay? So look at the look on Killer Mike's face. Like, you smug behind. Okay, I ain't gonna say the word I want to say. But so now you done plugged in, you done added insult to injury by saying, without saying, Negro, you not only are you not gonna have, but we're gonna remind you who does control the marijuana industry. And while you're at it, why don't you go shop while you're in LA to me and Woody Harrelson's dispensary called The Wood. So you're gonna plug in your own while you shooting down and letting it be known that this is not your territory, Negro. Move along. Okay. Man, let me tell you, this is something else.
Okay, what do you think of the news that NASA says the moon is shrinking? Fucking Biden. Right? Am I right?
thank you. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, someone's talking some sense.
Was perfectly fine under Trump.
So he says, finally, someone is talking some sense. So everything that Killer Mike said, everything to me made perfect sense. But you're going to make the comment, finally somebody is talking some sense. Look at that smile on his face. So now you're talking in his lane, because reparations was totally an uncomfortable conversation for him to have. Okay, which it should be, because he's right, and it should not be a lot to ask when you can send and to my as far as I know, there's another bill on the floor to send another $60 billion over to Ukraine that is on the verge of being passed. I don't even know. I stopped counting how much money they have now that has come from this country alone. But you can't even the playing ground with the reparations package for people that built this country. That's all I'm saying.
And now,
was excited that I didn't have to do the reparations question and then got the food question, which could be more complicated. Doesn't that go in your headlines that shouldn't exist bucket?
It really should. I mean, but apparently I read this too in USA Today. Apparently the moon, because the core is cooling or something.
It's our fault.
I'm sorry, why does it matter?
It doesn't.
Okay.
I know, but it's funny because you really could do a whole sketch about that because we are so blame happy in this country. Somebody has to take. I think the moon's on Ozempic, and that's the.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward this to another toward the end. I'm not gonna go through the whole video. If you want to watch the whole video, it's only 15 minutes long. You can check for the link in the description box. There's just one more area that I would like to focus on that includes a discussion with Killer Mike or interaction with him, and then we'll move along from there.
Fucking wait. She can't say, you can't say, Biden can't say, and most white people won't say, I'll sit down and talk about black people, about real black issues from a place where I know I'm going to leave.
Different issue. I'm just
talking about fucking racial.
I know you are.
Like, we don't want to talk about that. But when you say me and him are the same, we're the same. Besides that, we want to do. Like, how has Biden or Trump been good for my community?
That's
and I'm not saying they're the same.
At least
but you got to meet me at my table, not just go have lunch with a black kid and think everything's okay.
At least you're engaging with the question now.
Yeah.
Right. I get that. Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah. Have neighborhoods really changed? I mean, I forget who.
The last 3 years worse. I mean, it's tougher. Well, neighborhoods and.
I wonder why. I wonder why it's tougher. Let's talk about. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to talk about that. Talking about it's tougher. Boy, listen. I'm gonna rewind that just a little bit, because I want to catch it from the beginning. I want to see what Bill Maher said before Killer Mike actually commented.
Change, it's social justice,
and Trump, and the pussy grabber, who's like the who
and now
Air you should too.
I know. But what's interesting, what you two have in common is you both can't say, yeah, of course, so I'm voting for Biden. You both can't do that. I just find that interesting.
He can't say, she can't say, you can't say, Biden can't say, and most white people won't say, I'll sit down and talk about black people, about real black issues from a place where I know I'm going to leave.
Different issue. I'm just
talking about fucking racial.
I know you are.
Like, we don't want to talk about that. But when you say me and him are the same, we're the same. Besides that, we want to do. Like, how has Biden or Trump been good for my community?
That's
and I'm not saying they're the same.
At least you're.
But you got to meet me at my table, not just have lunch with a black kid and think everything's okay.
At least you're engaging with the question now.
Yeah.
Boy, if that's not condescending, I don't know what is. Welcome in. Hey, Alexandra, thank you for coming. Peace and blessings to you. Miss Connie, salute. Mr. Kimmy, first time I saw your live, very refreshing. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your support. And yes, thank you for engaging. I appreciate you. Thank you. So you got Killer Mike here. He's making it known. Y'all just sloughing me off because you don't want to have the conversation. You don't want to talk about it. You know why they don't want to talk about it? Because for several reasons. The first one is because they would have to take some accountability for their either their part that they've played in it or lack thereof, right? And then you have, it will take money out of their pockets as if they don't have enough, or it would probably, I don't even think it would shift their bottom line. I just think that it's so psychologically embedded in this country overall that people of color have always been at the bottom of the totem pole. And a lot of them fear because there are so many people that have brought themselves out and built themselves from ashes and have worked with next to nothing and have built lives for them and their families generationally. So you can see the superpowers and the capabilities, and they want no parts of being able to allow or to participate in Black people actually as a whole, collectively being able to have those same opportunities to do that as well as a whole, right? And so, no, they don't want to have that conversation because that conversation would mean that they would have to admit some things, or they would have to actually go dial back in history and accept the viciousness and the abuse overall that has happened to the same people that have built this country so that they can live off of the land at the levels that they do.
Right, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Have neighborhoods really changed? I mean, I forget who
The last 3 years, worse. I mean, it's tougher.
Well,
Neighborhoods and what's going on with crime, with public safety, with all this, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And both parties are to blame. Let's not make any.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
Mistakes
if
about that.
you live in a neighborhood and you see administrations change and nothing else changes, that I totally get that. Why you would go, what's the difference which white guy is president?
Right.
Didn't make any difference. And a lot of people weren't crazy about Obama.
Yeah,
Didn't
right.
think he was the radical change. They always they projected that on him. He would never
I
said
think Americans are comfortably uncomfortable. I think that this country could be radically better if we said we're going to do something radical and hold politicians' feet to the fire on politics. And we're not. We're just simply not doing it. And at some point, we're going to have to get off TV arguing for entertainment, and we're going to have to retreat to our living rooms, our after church synagogues or mosque functions, and we're going to have real discussions where we disagree and agree, and we find out what are the 10 things that are best on a hyper-local level.
What could be realer than this discussion?
Having that discussion within the confines of your own family and home, because they don't respect the conversation. They're not trying to address the real issues of the conversation, the crux. They're not trying to get to the bottom line and accept any responsibility, in my opinion, of the conversation. So what would be better? It would be better if I stopped having this conversation with you because it's falling upon deaf ears and it's not reaching who it needs to reach to the depths that it needs to reach for change. And with that, I'm done with this particular video. My point has been driven home as far as if you're coming in, feel free to watch the replay. The whole context of this video was to set the stage for the direction that this gentleman, Bill Maher, wanted it to go. And how he really just did not anticipate that Killer Mike was going to give him the pushback and the responses that he provided. And in my opinion, that definitely correlates with why he ultimately, in such a fashion at the Grammys, out of all places, was arrested and taken out of there. And the attempt was to totally embarrass him at such a highlight of his life and of his career. Because Killer Mike has been doing this rap. He's been in his rap career and bag for decades. He's an OG in this field. And so for them to do that at the Grammys on such a great night where he got Album of the Year and 3 Grammy Awards, it just speaks volumes as to how many people's toes he's touched on, he stepped on, and how many people he upset, which is definitely, absolutely, Alexandra, very, very unfortunate. So we're going to go to the next video. I want to react to Kwame's video from last night, and that link is also in the description, and the name of that video is Kwame Brown Reacts to Killer Mike being arrested one day after not endorsing Joe Biden, the Go Along Get Along gang. I thought that was so appropriate and so profound, and all it does is just reinforce what Kwame's been saying all this time. And he's been saying it a lot longer than people are starting to realize it right now. And, Killer Mike has been a very strong advocate for the Democratic Party for years, for many years, for many elections. And he's been very vocal about it. And he's been very outward about and opinionated, And so I don't think that not just Bill Maher, but I don't think that many expected the response that he gave at this interview, which I just kind of want to play a little bit of Kwame's response and give more context, because he's so eloquent in how he conveys his opinion and brings everything home. So give me just a moment. If you coming on in, make sure you tap that like button for me. You can share this stream with at least 1 or 2 people that that you think would gain edification from the video. And thank everybody for being here. I sure appreciate you. I want to go to a specific timestamp here.
On that, you can switch it into all type of other shit. I still said you on some bullshit. But they're not done interrogating this brother. Bill Maher is gonna make sure we understand fully that you're not gonna endorse Biden, boy. He might as well say it. You ain't black if you don't vote for Biden. That's what I thought he was gonna say next. You ain't black if you don't vote for Biden. You know that, boy.
Make it policy based.
So that means you're for.
That means I'm for black people and happy Black History Month.
But you're not saying one candidate over the other?
Hey man, my nigga, you ain't gonna get me in no trouble tonight.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna go back to the first time that he asked the question, because he asked the question at least 3 times that I can recall. And no matter what response Killer Mike gave him, he wasn't satisfied with that, right? Hold on just a moment.
Well, as a choice.
My feeling is pick your policy, not your person.
Okay.
But let's listen again to what Brother Killer Mike said. We need more rappers. Any rapper that support Killer Mike, please think about what he said. Any black folks that support Killer Mike, please think about what he's saying.
Well, as a choice.
My feeling is pick your policy, not your person. Find out. This is not the Dallas Cowboys versus your favorite team. This is the policies that will affect our generations for the next 20, 30, 40 years to come. So
that is true, and that is powerful. We're not talking about a football team for the Super Bowl. We are talking about decisions that will affect generations to come. Just for prime example, look at this border situation. If we get a different president at this election that cares about reversing some of the damage that has been done during this tenure of this president, this current president we have in office, guess what? That is going to take years to undo. We ain't got that kind of time. So what he said is super profound, and it should be respected. Hey, Juicy Fruit, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. CC, it's okay. You ain't late. You right on time. And there's always the replay button. So I just started the reaction video to Kwame's live yesterday or last night in regards to Killer Mike's interview with Bill Maher and what he feels could be a connection as to why he was treated the way that he was after the Grammys, and him, you know, of course, gaining and winning 3 awards, and then them arresting him at the venue, which I just thought was unreal. I didn't know that there was such a correlation or that, but I didn't know why. All I kept seeing was that he was arrested, he was arrested, he was arrested. But when I saw Kwame's video, it drove home, and it made all the sense in the world, because I'm thinking whatever he did or they accused him of doing, couldn't they have did that at another point in time? Right? So I just now looking at things in its context, its proper context, is making sense to me.
Close your eyes, listen to the policies that are being pushed, and pay attention even to the people who don't have a chance of winning, because they're going to say policies you may want to push. And I would say do that, but make it policy based.
So that means you're for.
That means I'm for black people and happy Black History Month.
But you're not saying one candidate over the other?
Hey man, my nigga, you ain't gonna get me in no trouble tonight.
But we free, right? But we supposed to be free, right? then if we supposed to be so free, then why folk come? This black man already knew he was gonna get in trouble. Why folk come? Shannon Sharp already knew his show was in jeopardy for allowing Cat Williams to speak freely. Why folk come? We already know that it's a certain thing that we can say and can't say. Why is that? And for the white folks that don't understand why folk come, and for the educated black folks that don't understand why folk come, I'm basically saying, why is it that these black males already know that there's some sort of punishment for them thinking freely? He said, jokingly, but there's a lot of truth in a joke. You ain't gonna get me in no trouble. That's why I hide a lot of shit in jokes. That's why I hide a lot of stuff in my cursing rants, so they can think I'm just a cursing crazy ranter.
Bingo. Bingo. Oliver Green Apartments, thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the chat, and peace and blessings to you. Yeah, just catch the replay whenever you have time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Juicy Fruit. I appreciate that. I try. Thank you so much. And we got your thoughts. Public humiliation. Yeah. And that's how they always punish you. You know, that's the only way that they feel like they can make it really count and make an impact to where you'll get in line and next time and you'll stay in line. Because if not, this is a taste of what you'll get, right? It's insane to me. But Kwame said it best, in my opinion. You know, he said, and I love the way that he camouflages his information. I'm not as ingenuous or genius with it as he is. I just say what comes off the dome for me, and I you know, sometimes it gets me in trouble. But you know, Killer Mike is basically, he's understanding. You know, if I answer that question, there's going to be some repercussions, especially if he answers it honestly and straightforward. And that's sad that a grown man, a heterosexual man, no disrespect to the alphabet community. However, we all can agree to some degree that the heterosexual masculine man is definitely under attack, in my opinion, right? And so it is just for him to sit there with a smile and understand what's going on, but feel like he has to be curbed in his response and he has to be tampered down. This is crazy to me. This is just, you know, but he's been playing the game long enough that he still chooses to sacrifice to a certain degree in order to try to reach his people and get help for his people. And that falls in line to what Juicy Fruit just said. They have been trying to stop this brother for years. And he has been doing this his entire career. He has been steadfast. He has kept his nose clean. He has persevered through some really, really tough times, and at, you know, what they say, different levels, different devils. Man, if there's no truth to that, there's no truth to it at all. I'm here to tell you, the more you accomplish and the higher you ascend, the more you are attacked, and the more on the forefront that they try, like Miss Show Thought said, to humiliate you, to absolutely dehumanize you, and to make you look weak, and to make you look other than what you are. And that's a man, right? So I'm going to do a couple more clips of this video, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'm not going to do a long live. My points have been, you know, exercised. I know other people are going live, but I did want to just, you know, touch on this topic because I thought that video that Kwame did hit home on so many fronts, and it really it exemplified some points that I thought it needed to, you know, could use some reverberation and repeating.
But why is it that these men already know that they cannot think the way that they think? If there's no go along, get along gang, like I've been a legend, why does all these men already know that they're going to get in trouble? Maybe because they seen what happened to Cat Williams. Maybe because they seen what happened to anybody who try to go against or get around the go along, get along game. This man said, you're not about to get me in no trouble. He was trying to frame it in a way that he couldn't get in trouble. But see, this little gatekeeper right here, this little white zaddy boy, we ain't letting you off the hook like that. We gonna get an answer out of you. So you're not going to endorse one over the other? He gonna keep pressing them. Oh, so wait a minute now. You can't say don't vote for Trump. This was an open check-in right in front of us, boy.
But they started that here and then finished it at the Grammys. So CC says, what did he do? From what I understand, see, nobody really knows outside of a few news clippings or TMZ. I think TMZ was the first to report it, but they said that he knocked somebody down. First of all, I don't know if anybody's seen or knows how large Killer Mike is, but that's a huge man. So to me, that's unbelievable on many fronts. Like I said, he's always been able to keep his nose clean, and it would not surprise me if that information was untrue, or if it, at the very least, it was totally embellished from something else that happened, but they had to justify humiliating that man at the Grammys by taking him in handcuffs and walking him from the venue and taking him into jail for whatever reason. And so I don't really know what else to say. I don't know, because I don't watch TMZ and I don't read TMZ. And so I'm just going off of the information that was provided during Kwame's video. And so I want to get to the point where where most of us tend to think that this might be the reason why he was put into the sling that he was put into. And as a result, the Grammys happen.
That's why I don't go out to LA. LA ain't fucking around, boy. You go out to LA, it's a different rule. It's a different ball game out there. It's a different ball game. You can stay in the woods in Georgia. You can stay in your lane. They will not let him get off of this question. Why does this look like an interrogation? Bill Maher, this man already gave you the answer. He said, I'm for black people. I want you to vote policy, not candidate. What part of that answer don't you understand, Bill Maher? You're an educated man. We know you educated. Why is it that you can't let him get away with that answer? You know why? He is in disbelief. This is a liberal white man. And one thing about liberal whites, they think that they're supposed to think for you. They're training other people to think for you. They're training people to only be able to communicate with you in the form of a question and not an open dialogue. Most people today do not even know how to have open dialogue. If they seem to be trapped and not understand what you say, they'll frame it in another way. Maybe you don't understand what I'm asking you. I understand exactly what I'm asking you.
And that was by design. They teach that in school. They teach it in school. That's why they have a teacher and they have students. They have one that initiates delegation and the other ones that respond to it in a fashion that they were instructed to.
You're asking me. I just gave you the fucking answer. I get tired of people not hearing what I say, and they turn around and ask me the same question that I already answered. Was you fucking listening? I already answered your question. I just want you to, I want to frame it in this way. Frame, get your ass out my face. How about that? That's why I'm so glad I didn't go to college. I know how to communicate the natural way, the real way, where you're not trying to push narratives. I know how to just let you talk. I know how to ask the right questions. If you ask the right questions, salute to you, Miss Spitfire. I appreciate it. If you ask the right questions, you will induce out of anybody what you want to know if you're really trying to know. If you're patient enough and not pushing the narrative. A lot of these people go to college and they get indoctrinated. These are fake lawyers. They use their education to try to bully you into their point. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. You can switch it into all type of other shit. I still said you on some bullshit. But they're not done interrogating this brother. Bill Maher is going to make sure we understand fully that you're not going to endorse Biden, boy. He might as well say it. You ain't black if you don't vote for Biden.
Okay. And And that requires no embellishment. I just need to pause it for fair use. Fair use reasons. Kwame don't need no embellishment. He don't need me expounding on nothing he said. He's absolutely right on all fronts as far as I'm concerned. So here we go.
That's what I thought he was going to say next. You ain't black if you don't vote for Biden. You know that, boy.
Make it policy based.
So that means, therefore,
That means I'm for black people and happy Black History Month.
you're not saying one candidate over the other?
Hey man, my nigga, you ain't gonna get me in no trouble tonight.
So that's the second time he done pushed up on him with that same question. So let's hear it another time because it's coming.
Hey,
No, that's your job with me. To get me in trouble.
My grandfather gave me some stellar advice sometimes. He said, son, sometimes you just gotta know to stay out of white folks' business. This time, I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I still like the policy that the old man had that I was supporting. I would encourage people to find who's supporting that policy and see what
But you can't get yourself to say vote for Biden over Trump.
you want me to list it now.
He just won't take no for an answer, right? You listen, come on, I need you to preach that, Juicy Fruit. I remember when it was rude to ask someone who they were going to vote for. Come on. That was an unspoken rule that was private information. That was categorized like medical information. I remember that, Juicy Fruit. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. What a great point. Man, they don't have no scruples. None.
No, he is in disbelief. He is in utter he cannot get over the fact that Killer Mike is not going to say vote for Biden. He is a black man. It is his job to vote for Biden. It is what he's supposed to say. Now, come in the morning, it's going to be black women because they're going to sick their dogs on this boy. It's going to be the typical people that they use. They're going to disavow this man. They're going to break him down in the next coming days in the media. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
And he's saying that with such conviction because how many times over and over do we have to see it? Every time a black man goes against the grain, he is publicly ostracized, humiliated, and they hit him in the pocket. Look at Kanye. I take away and despite everything else, every other opinion that we have, or you may have, or the next person may have, of how he has lived his life publicly, decisions that he's made, because of his reach and his impact, they made sure that they were going to make an example out of him with the status that he had, with the reach that he had. And it's been shown over and over and over and over again. So I agree with Kwame. It just remains to be seen.
You mean that he's looking at him right in his eyes? So you mean to tell me you can't endorse one over the other? I would have been like, what kind of fucking question is that? Nigga, I already answered your question. And if he knew like the rest of the people knew, he should have said, yeah, I'm leaning more towards Biden, but I don't want to tell people what to do. He should have said that. But Killer Mike must know and see something now. He don't want to lie to people no more. He don't want to use his influence to just, make people blindly vote their own demise. This was a gutsy thing for him to do. And look what it got him.
Especially after seeing how people are made examples of over and over again when they're outspoken or they go against the quote unquote grain that was set before them, right?
I told y'all, when you reach a certain social status, they wasn't mad because Kyrie didn't get the juggernaut. They was mad because the status of Kyrie. You can see that other players didn't get the juggernaut. They played in different cities. They was able to play. It's just we didn't know who he was. We didn't know who he was. Kyrie Irving has the ability to sway people's mind and opinion. That's why I'm glad a lot of motherfuckers stopped liking me. Shit, I'm not trying to get them to take me out. I ain't trying to go to jail. Man, I started arguing with niggas every day. Man, F y'all, F you, F you. So people start saying, man, Kwame crazy. He's over there arguing with small people on YouTube. Yeah, that's what I want you to think.
Man, if that's not genius, because he is absolutely right. All we have to do is look at history. Look at Malcolm X. Look at Martin Luther King Jr. Look at Marcus Garvey. We can go back hundreds of years, and it's been the same pattern, the same MO, and the same points of war, right? And the same tactics that they use to deal with people that buck up against the grain. And so, it's easy for the people to classify and to exalt another human that they feel is different or that they feel has leadership skills to be leaders. And so it's not because of actions necessarily of their own, but it's the people that put them in that classification, because at the end of the day, the reaction comes from the amount of reach and the amount of impact that they feel these people have over the masses, right? And so for Kwame to make that adjustment, because there was a time where I was sitting back thinking like, what in the world are you doing? Now I understand, because one thing I've always understood is that he's always been very intentional, and he has reasons for doing things. And now it kind of brings it full circle for me. So that's a great point.
Shit, I'm not your leader. I'm not none of that shit. Quit calling me that. Oh, he the new Marcus Garvey. What the hell they did to Marcus Garvey? Oh, he the new Malcolm X. What the hell they did to Malcolm X? Quit calling me a bunch of dead people. If you lost your mind, I got children I love. Yeah, I got children I love, but all I got to do is let you know the information. You got to do the work.
Yes.
Yeah. I know what they do on Martin Luther King Street.
Yes.
I don't want to be no goddamn martyr.
That's
Niggas
right.
tell me I'm gonna die and be a martyr. For what? For niggas to goddamn defame your statue? Deface it? Man, please.
Totally agree. Hey, Bolo. Yes. Alexandra, he is a mess. That's okay, though. You know what? He our mess, I guess. And we accept him just the way he is. At least I do. So yes, thank you for coming in, Bolo. We're just kind of we're at the point where I'm gonna be wrapping up soon, but this is a reaction to KB's live, just kind of talking about what could have led up to the behavior and the outcome of people feeling like that man should have been arrested at a highlight and at such a grandiose point in his life, having such a sense of accomplishment. And then they thought that it was rational to publicly humiliate him at the same time and in the same venue where he was being recognized for his accomplishments and decades worth of investment, sacrifice, and work and exercise in his talent. This is just, it can be infuriating. And at the very least, it is definitely eye-opening that the times have changed, but the behavior really has not, on how they deal with people that they feel are a threat to the system.
No, sir. Those who get it, get it. Those who don't. It's all good. But I know one thing. He just won 3 Grammys, got the album of the year. You cannot say what he just said on these white people TV. And he thought he was leaving himself out of white folk business. Nigga say stop being scared of white people. Yeah, okay. Then white people gonna make you scared of your own people because they ain't gonna do nothing. They just gonna create a quote unquote beef. And it'll be your own people that try to do something to you.
And they have been very masterful in doing that, in my opinion. So now, instead of the KKK and all of these white supremacy groups actually, taking the stance in order to deal with, misbehaving Black folks, now they've just programmed us collectively to be able to do it amongst ourselves. So their hands are clean. And then the objective in the end game is still being accomplished. It's sad, really. It's really sad.
I still like the policy that the old man had that I was supporting. I would encourage people to find who's supporting that policy and see what.
But you can't get yourself to say vote for Biden over Trump.
You want me to list it now? So now
I'm just saying that.
Can he get himself to apologize for the crime bill? Can he get himself to get his head out of his ass and say, Black people, you are Black regardless. I need you to tell me what I need to do. Can he pick a coalition of former people who are affected by drug laws, street gangs, recidivism, and crime, and say, I need you as a board to advise me how to fix federal prisons? If he can do that, absolutely I can. So my chapter.
Okay, so yeah, I think he kind of, irritated and pissed a few people off with that statement, especially when he said that he needs to get his head out of his ass. So salute to Killer Mike. Salute to Killer Mike. Oh goodness. However, you know what? How many times you gonna ask the man and he done told you 3 times he didn't want to answer the question? So now you can't get mad because that's what he did. You wouldn't let it go. And now you got the answer, and now you looking at him like a deer caught in headlights. So what is it that you expected, sir? I'm just saying. They call him Killer Mike for a reason. I'm just gonna repeat that.
Man, Killer Mike just ripped. Man, listen. Woo! Killer Mike. Boy, you about to make me go goddamn get a shot to that one, boy. Woo, woo, woo. Man. Did you hear what Killer Mike just said? Okay, that's why he got arrested. Yeah. Okay. If you want me to endorse the motherfucker, you tell him to do, because basically he's saying he ain't doing shit. That's basically what he's saying. No, first of all, you need to apologize for the 94 crime bill. Then let's handle this recidivism rate. Let's fix some of this poverty and crime. Let's do all the things you said you was going to do. Build back better. Then I can vote for you. So now Killer Mike is telling people to make these people earn your vote. Because they haven't been earning it. They just been promising you a bunch of lies. We're going to give you free student loans. We're going to give you student loan recovery. Everybody who got student loan debt talking about, yeah. I'm like, they're not going to do that shit. We're going to give everybody $1,000. Yeah. We're going to build more projects. Yeah.
And if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. See, the one thing that I can say about the current president in office is he told everybody who he was, and he made no promises. But because we were tired of Trump, or we felt some type of way about how Trump, delivered certain points. Man, listen, if we could turn back the hands of time, I can speak for me. If I could turn back the hands of time, my thought process would have been totally different, because he showed us and he told us who he was. So with that being said, the description to this video and to the original source of this video that Kwame used, they are both in the description box. If you want to view the original video without the commentary from Kwame, feel free. I am not going to hold y'all anymore or much longer. I appreciate everybody from coming in. I just want to kind of summarize and say that, I applaud and I salute Killer Mike, because he knows he's been doing this and he's been in this political arena for long enough to know exactly what the possibilities and the possible outcomes could be, what the consequences could be. And he still is the same, and he still is vocal, and he is willing to say what needs to be said in order. That's how you know that a person loves their people, when they're selfless to a large degree. So on a night where he won 3 Grammys, they took that opportunity to try to outshine that moment and besmirch it because he did not follow the script. And so God is going to, in my opinion, and in history, he is going to take care of Killer Mike because of the stance of being selfless that he has taken, and of the sincere passion and compassion that he has to see his people gain equality, and to be able to, hopefully in his lifetime, or at least affect his daughter's lifetime, his offspring, to be able to experience some type of equality in this system. Not saying it will happen, but he definitely has a vision to exercise and do his part in order to see that could possibly happen. Right? So what happened, Miss Your Thoughts? Check my comments. Okay, I will. I will. So with that being said, if there's nothing else, do I need to drop the link? Your thoughts? Yes, no. Is it something that needs my attention? And so, yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up the point of, okay, all right. Thank you, babe. Of the stream. And so with that being said, I appreciate everybody for joining me. For those that stayed, thank you sincerely. I appreciate y'all. Peace and blessings. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful and it goes smoothly. Be a blessing to somebody, do a selfless service for somebody else. It always does the soul good. Thank you for coming in, and I will see y'all in the next live stream. And for those that actually come in on the replay, you can always speed up the speed to 1.25 or 1.50 if you're on time constraints, so you can still understand and get the edification from the live stream. So I appreciate everybody, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace and blessings.